Hey friends, what if Naruto Banished Ultear M is a teacher movie? But before we start, if you want more amazing stuff like this, then be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, if possible, share this video with your friends. Now, without wasting any more time, let's begin the story. In a rundown apartment in the red light district of Konohakagure, we find a young spiky blonde-haired boy with obsidian blue eyes and tan skin, wearing an orange jumpsuit with blue ninja sandals. There were two things that are missing. One was his hit I-8, the other the necklace he won from Tsunade. This was Naruto Uzumaki, ex-genin of Konohakagure. After everything that I have done, bringing that bastard back, they banish me. His thoughts were clouded with rage, what occurred a few moments ago still fresh in his memory. Flashback. What do you mean I am banished? Shouted the boy at the council. After his recovery and bringing back the Uchiha to the village, the Anbu brought him here to the council, where he was given this news by the honorable elders. When he arrived, Tsunade had tears falling from her face and then was told about this. As we said, child, you are banished from the village never to return. By the approval of the Fire Daimon of Hai no Kuni, your rank stripped and removed from the Shinobi Corporation, and your contract to the Toad Summon revoked, said Danzo with a calm expression, unlike the civilians who were smiling like idiots. Naruto lowered his head and let his hit I-8 hit the floor. He walked up to Tsunade. He removed the necklace that was on his neck and put it on the desk. Here Tsunade, this belongs to you, he said as he left the council room and headed home. End of flashback. Once he left the council room, all of the villagers, even dozen his age, now knew of his tenant. They all sent him glares and threw rocks at him. Even his so-called friends joined with the villagers. He thought that maybe the small bond he made would make them see for who he is and not the thing inside. But it for nothing now. The village he called home made the message quite clear to never return and that they will only see him as the beast inside of him. But where can I go? The boy couldn't go to any of the allies of Konoha, meaning the lands of wave, sand, waterfall and spring. Mindscape. Inside of Naruto's mind behind a metal barred door, the Kyuubi felt ashamed for the first time in his long life because of being him and that orange masked bastard. This boy suffered, going through things that could make any immortal being fall to a dark path, yet this human child persevered, facing everything they threw at him, both physical and emotional, and now he was banished. Father, I know you can hear me, and right now I wish to speak to you. It revolves around the child of prophecy, said the massive chakra beast. Soon before him a tall and pale-skinned man appeared, who had deep wrinkles and a strong jawline in his elderly age. He had spiky shoulder-length hair, pale red hair with a chin-length braided lock hanging in front of his left ear. He also had a goatee which was tapered down to his waist. He had a pair of horn-like protrusions extending from either side of his forehead. He has a red ripple-like marking on his forehead similar to his purple ripple eyes. He has a full-length kimono with a pattern of 6 black magatama around a high collar, beneath which he wore a necklace which was also made up of 6 black magatama. On the back of his kimono was a large black ripple marking with 9 magatama range and 3 rows of 3 beneath it. Floating on his back was 10 black orbs that were positioned to create a circle. This man was the father of all shinobi, the one who brought the Bijik into the world, Hagoromo Tsutsuki. It has been a long time, Kurama, said the man. The fox smiled looking at his father. What is it you need? There must be a good reason for you to call me here, asked the sage of 6 paths. I wish for you, no, I beg you to give Naruto the power of both Ashura and Indra, said the massive kitsune as he bowed to his creator. Hagoromo raised a brow at this. He has watched Kurama in limbo, as he never showed any concern towards any of the humans who abused his gift, but now he asks him to give the reincarnation of his youngest son the power of both his ancestors. Why? Kurama stood up and in his eyes showed shame. If it wasn't because of me, the kid would have had a family, love and a normal childhood, but he suffered so much, pain, sorrow, betrayal, anger, loneliness. He had went through a life alone without a guide, forced to eat on the street, beaten to the point of death, shunned by all old and young, all because of me. I may be a massive chakra, but I would never let a child suffer such a fate. Hagoromo looked at the eldest Bijik with a smile. This boy is very unique, he is so much like Ashura. The man soon brought one of the orbs before him to change into a shakugan, with one end in shape of a crescent, while on the other was circular with 6 rings attached to it. Then let us meet this boy. Kurama nodded at his father. We need to talk, kid, before he pushed the kid's psyche into his mindscape. With Naruto. Naruto has finished packing all of his belongings and was planning on visiting Zabuza's and Heika's grave before going to look for his new home. We need to talk, kid. The blonde heard the voice of his tenant before he felt his conscience being pulled into his mind. Mindscape. Naruto soon drops on the water that was a Soa representing his mindscape. Wanting to get this over with, he turns to see the fox and a man standing outside of the seal. What do you want, fox? And who is the old guy? You imputed brat. You better show respect now. Kurama, calm down, Kyuubi shouted but was interrupted by the man. Kurama. The beast mumbled growl as he laid down. That is my name. What did you think my name was, Kyuubi? That is only a title, Naruto stayed quiet but would now decide to call him by his name. Hey, he hated being called demon brat, dope and dead last, at least call the one being who helped him out by its name. Alright Kurama, now that we continue, let me introduce myself. I am Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the sage of Sixth Path and your ancestor, said the pale red-haired man. Naruto was shocked. He knew who was the sage Sixth Path was, but that was mostly a myth, and now here he is, and telling him of being his ancestor. So why are you here? Because, Kurama believes you are worthy of having the powers of my two sons Ashura and Indra, said the man. Who are Ashura and Indra? I never heard about them. The man sighed and sat in a lotus position holding the staff in his hand and floating in the air with 10 black spheres underneath him. Ashura is my youngest son and the progenitor of the Senju, and in a way the Uzumaki. He gained the power of my body, giving him a powerful life force and physical energy, while Indra, my eldest, was the progenitor of the Uchiha and getting power of my eyes. Granted him powerful chakra and spiritual energy. The young boy stared at the man and then at the massive fox. Why? Why do you want me to have such power? I thought you hated me. The beast looked at the ground, avoiding his gaze. I don't hate you, kid. You see, me and my siblings, the other Bijks, were given a mission by our father to protect these lands, but the humans soon learned that it was possible to seal us within a human vessel. You are my third vessel, and possibly the only one to make me feel these emotions. His eyes soon looked towards the boy. And I know from your memory that you won't abuse these powers. Your heart is pure, unlike the other one whose heart is corrupted to the core. Wait, do you mean that? Yes, your Uchiha friend is the reincarnation of Indra, and I say he doesn't deserve it. Compared to his ancestor, he is 100 times worse, said the fox. That is why I called my father here, to stop the useless cycle and grant you their power. So Naruto, do you accept? The young blonde stayed quiet for a moment. The beast, who was the source of his misfortune, wanted him to make amends by giving him a gift, one that would be useful while on the run, until he finds a new home. He wanted power to protect his true friends and true home, if he ever finds it, and this may be his first step to getting it. I accept. But now raise your hands, said the sage, and the boy followed it. Soon the sage raised his own, and a yellow and purple light coursed through his hands. Naruto felt as if a missing piece of him has finally returned and made him whole. When the light faded, he looked at his hands. On his right was a white sun-like marking, while on his left black crescent moon-like marking. Now you have the power of both my sons, the body and eyes. I have also given you the sixth path, yin and yang power, which correspond to them. The power of yin allows you to form things out of nothing, while the power of yang lets you breathe life into form. The control you have over your chakra now matches my own. You also gained the Sharingan, EMS and the Rin Sharingan Jutsu. I will implant you memories on how to use the ability they hold, the sage said as he began to implant memories of the technique each eye is able to use. However, he will need to train in them to truly master them. Thank you, Hagoromo-san, Naruto said and bowed to his ancestor. The man smiled as he began to fade. Find your happiness, Naruto, you deserve it. As his last message was said, he vanished. Naruto soon turned towards the fox. Well, I better head out. Wait, kid, I still have to give you my gift, which will be useful in the upcoming future. The boy soon turned to the massive fox. I wish to turn you into a Hanyu. You want to turn me into a half-breed? The fox shook his head. No, I was thinking more of a tri-breed. You will still be human, but be part Bijk, allowing you better control over my chakra and the third race. And that race would be? Asked the boy curiously. Dragon. Naruto raised his brow, but dragons aren't real, it's mumbo-jumbo just like magic. Oh, I beg the dipper, said the fox, these creatures are very much real just like magic. But how? Asked the curious boy. The world is a lot bigger than you think, Naruto. Surrounding the elemental nation is a veil of mist created by my father using Genjutsu. We are located in the southern part of a borderline between two other landmasses. To the east is Ishgar that is surrounded by scattered isles of different sizes. The peninsula itself is linked to the mainland. To the west is Alakatasia, which is much more monolithic compared to Ishgar, with few islands, said the fox, informing the boy of the world. Now, unlike those who reside here, out there the people use an energy called ether nano. It's similar to chakra in some ways. For example, they both dwell inside all living organisms and through the atmosphere. Now here comes the differences. Well, chakra users have a system that with time can grow and expand. The mages have a container that is inside their body that determine the limit of their magic power. When a chakra user depletes their chakra reserve, they die since it's connected to their life force. The mages who have emptied their reserve of ether nano can absorb it from the atmosphere, restoring their magic power. Also, some mages' magic container isn't normally used and contains their dormant power called second origin. If this power is ever released, the mage will receive an enormous boost of magic power, able to cast more powerful spells, as well as gaining increased magical stamina. But living things can't live in extremely concentrated areas of ether nano, for it has detrimental effects on the body structure. And by turning you into a dragon, you will have a container to absorb the ether nano that is beyond the veil, said the fox, teaching the boy about what the land beyond Naruto was a bit dizzy from all the information he gained even though it was useful. Alright, so when do we start the procedure? All you have Toto is 1/3 of the seal, and I will do the rest, Kurama said as the boy nodded. He walked up to the seal and tore 1/3 of it. As soon as Naruto fainted and the fox began to work on the modification, he didn't touch much of the boy's human DNA, only bringing out the Kekkei Genkai of his mother, the adamantine sealing chains, which even he had to admit would be useful for the boy. He then began to add the Bij DNA, boosting his already massive chakra reserve and granting even far greater control over than an average Inch-Kriki. It also allowed the boy to live a much longer life than those of his clan. When the boy finds mates he would be able to mark them and they would be able to live as long as the boy. Then he worked on his dragon DNA, and he had a sample of it that he gained when he was younger and explored the land beyond the veil. The dragon in question is Kyurem Ice Flame Dragon, a powerful dragon that uses ice fire. The dragon was on death's door when the Kikbi found it. It asked him to take a sample of his blood and flesh and infuse it into a person worthy of it. And right now who better than the boy before him? And done, YAWN man, I am tired, better nap a little, said the fox as it was exhausted from doing his first body modification. Real world. Naruto groaned a little as he stood up from the floor. He soon stood up and looked at himself in the mirror. His hair was still spiky and blonde, but gained red tips. His eyes now much lighter shade of blue, almost resembling ice with a slit pupil. He looked closely to his skin to see barely visible scale-like patter, most likely a side effect of his dragon DNA. I look pretty badass, also like the red tips on my hair, he said as he swept his hand through it. His eyes turned serious and did his signature jutsu Kage Bunshin. And revealing 10 clones of him. Alright, I want you all to use our new Sharingan to absorb as much jutsu information as you can. First group of 5 of you head to the Uchiha compound and go through their library and copy as much jutsu as you can. Second group of 5 of you will go to the public shinobi library and copy everything they have. I want you all in a henge to enter the facilities. Don't want the village to have additional fuel. Hi. They all shouted as they all henged into insects and left to their respected spots. Naruto soon learned that his henge, unlike the other, was a true transformation and not an illusion, making it even more useful and more difficult to recognize it. Time to head out, he said, focusing chakra into his eyes. It first turned to a Sharingan with 3 Tomo, and then his Tomo began to spin and soon create a spiral. Let's test this bad boy out. Next up, Wave Country, Kamui. Naruto said as he was sucked into a vortex and disappeared from the village. In an open clearing within the forest of the Land of Waves were 2 grave markers shaped like crosses. The one on the left had a scarf wrapped around it, the other one had a massive sword stabbed into the ground with a semicircle near the handle. These graves belonged to Hakuyuki and Zabuza Mamachi. A few feet away from the graves a distortion in the space appeared and swirling into existence was Naruto Uzumaki. The red-tipped blonde rubbed his head on the small irritation he was experiencing. Grown okay, note to self, train in my Dijutsu to not experience any form of headaches. Naruto soon stood up and looked at Zabuza's and Heika's grave. The ex-genin bowed his head and prayed for them out of respect. Once he finished the prayer he walked up towards Kubikurum. I am going to borrow this Zabuza. I will need all the help I can get in the future. The blonde soon touched the handle of the sword and he saw the world darken. Inside Kubikurum. Naruto soon lands on an ocean of blood with no sight of land and a black skyline. Where am I? In Kubikurum, brat, said a familiar voice. Naruto soon turns around to see a figure he didn't expect to see. There standing in front of him was a tall and noticeably muscular man with pale skin, short spiky black hair, brown eyes and small eyebrows, wearing bandages like a mask over the bottom half of his face. His hit was sideways on his head, wearing a black sleeveless shirt and matching pants. With waist guard and Kurigakure's stripped wrist and leg warmers. Zabuza? How are you alive? The man chuckled, I am not alive, Gaki, I'm merely a part of the many souls who reside in Kubikurum. What do you mean? Asked the blonde what the swordsman meant, and a part of him was freaking out. He still feared Ghost. You see Gaki, when the wielder of the Kubikurum dies, they put a piece of their soul into it. These soul fragments see the memory of the new wielder and judges whether or not the one who grabbed it is worthy of the sword. This process has been done to all of its past wielders since the forging of the 7 blades. However, the fragment disappears after 2 years and the sword become fair game. Said the demon of the mist, and I saw your memory, kid. I must say you have one hell of a will to survive what I've gone through, so I will allow you to wield Kubikurum. Also I will give you memory of one of the hideout I used in Wave, there you can get some supplies. Best of luck, Naruto. Soon Zabuza disappeared and the world was engulfed in a white light. Reality. Naruto soon sees that he is back in reality. He picked up the massive Zanbaton that felt a bit of weight in his hands. He did a few test swings and later sealed in a scroll. Well, better head to the hideout, I wonder. Hey Kurama. What Gaki? Asked the massive fox. Glad to see you still have that nickname for me. Anyways, how do I bring out my wings? Asked the boy, curious about his dragonic blood. Simple, just think of your wings expanding from your back, they will feel natural for you like they were your own arm, said the chakra beast. Alright, thanks for the tip, he thought as he soon focused on his back. A few seconds later he heard tearing of his clothing and turned to look and see, there before him were two massive wings, possibly creating a wingspan of 20 feet. It was made of white with a blue edge scales with a crisscrossing white stiffening fiber. He did basic motions as if they were hands. Let's test these bad boys. Soon the ex-shinobi shot into the air shouting with joy, this is amazing. He soon shot off to the base of the deceased mist demon. Once he entered the hideout after with disabling the traps that were placed, the blonde went and began to memorize the scrolls that were there. He had several scrolls for water jutsus, along with the personal jutsu of Haku. It also had the monies Abusa has earned during his time as a mercenary, since no one was going to use it minus him. Naruto then began to seal weapons that Abusa has collected. All of them were top-grade ninja tools and in perfect conditions. After sealing tools and the money and destroying the already memorized jutsu scrolls he headed to the door, that is until a large black scroll with white line and a silver center got his attention. What is that? He walked up to it to see that it was a summoning contract for the wolves. Man, I am lucky, better do this later. Naruto strapped a scroll and began to head out, but not without his clones putting explosion seals to destroy the base. Once he was in the sky he exploded the base so no one can use it or what he had remaining in it. The young tribe breed soon lands on an open clearing and rolled the scroll out to see only having 3 names. This summon must be either very picky or hard to find, he thought, but then soon began to do the procedure in writing his name on the scroll like he did with the toads. Once finished he did the hand signs for the summoning jutsu. Soon before giant cloud of smoke appeared before him, and there standing was a massive black-furred wolf with red eyes that resembles blood and 4 metal handcuffs on each of its leg with broken chains. It has been a long time since someone has made a contract with my clan. The wolf looked down at the boy. May I get the name of the one who summoned me? Fenrir, head of the wolf clan. The name is Naruto Uzumaki, Sir Fenrir, said the boy not showing fear to the massive wolf. And Uzumaki? I haven't heard that name in a long time. Good clan they are, similar to my own when it come to taking care of their pack, so you wish to be our summoner? Yes I do, said the blonde to the wolf. He soon received the most gruesome and dangerous glare he had ever gotten in his life. He felt his death was upon him and his body was screaming for him to run, but he held his flight instinct back and stood firm. Naruto then did his own glare and showing defiance to now run away. But anyone who can't stand up to me is not worthy of being my clan summoner. I greet you to the pack, Naruto Uzumaki. The wolf lowered his head to make a bowing-like motion. Naruto also returned one as well. Summon us whenever you need us. The next time I will show you your partner. Till then, young pup, and Fenrir soon vanished. Well, that was interest. Naruto cold finish as his head was hit by multiple memories of his clones. Thankfully, due to his Bijkan dragon DNA, he was able to assort the memory faster, just granting him a light headache. Soon memories of the Taijutsu of the Uchiha clan, the Interceptor Fist and Ken, Water Jutsus, Fire Jutsus, Earth Jutsus, Wind Jutsus, Lightning Jutsus. Nature transformation training, varieties of Sharingan Jutsu, sword styles and Kakashi's Jutsu the Chidori. Oh, this is going to be fun, at least now you taught me something, sensei. After receiving the memories he created 7 groups of 100 kage bunshin, and they started to work on their respected task. Group 1 worked on Fire Jutsus, Group 2 Water Jutsus, Group 3 Earth Jutsu, Group 4 Wind Jutsus, Group 5 Lightning Jutsus, Group 6 Yin Jutsu and finally Group 7 Taijutsu. Alright Gaki, now since you are part dragon, I will also teach you about your dragon slaying magic. Wait, there is a magic made to slay dragons? Asked the blonde. Yes, it was created by a dragon who thought it to their chosen human, but unlike them you are part dragon, so your power is stronger than that of an average dragon slayer. However, I was only able to attain memories of the 3 basic spells that you can do. If you meet a dragon slayer you can train with them to increase the number of spells you possess. The first is Ice Fire Dragon's Roar, which you first inhales to gather the fire in your mouth and then release such freezing fire in the direction of your opponent, creating a large explosion fireball which damages and freezes burns the opponent. Next is Ice Fire Dragon's Iron Fist, which engulf your fist in ice flames and then punches the opponent, causing, aside from sheer blunt damage from the icy flames as well. And finally Ice Fire Dragon's Claw, which you ignite your feet and proceeds to assault opponent with a powerful ice fire enhanced kick, with the flame greatly augmenting the power of the said kick, said the fox as Naruto soon attained the memories. After seeing, he looked at a tree and inhaled Ice Fire Dragon's Roar. Naruto soon opened his mouth as a small wave of blue flames shot out and hit the tree. When he stopped, the trunk was covered in ice and blue flames flickered on the ice. Pushing his fist back, he did his second spell, Ice Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. He went up to the ice-covered tree and punched it with his blue flame-encased fist, causing the tree to fall towards him. Ice Fire Dragon Claw. Naruto soon did a downward kick that was ignited with blue flames and cut through the tree, splitting it in 2. Wow. That is awesome. Yes it is, so are you ready for more training? Yes Kurama-sensei, said the young tribe reed. Kurama-sensei, I like the sound of that, said the fox. -6 months later. In the last months Naruto has upped his training and reached a whole new level, thanks to his Rin Sharingan, it shortens the time to learning all 5 elements, he can do jutsus with doing a single hand sign, but he didn't stop there, he sent clones to other villages under disguises and copied all of their jutsus, his clones copied jutsus of the element consisting of magnet, scorch, boil, lava, storm, explosion, wood and dust, and by accident copied Kumo's seal for creating black lightning which he placed between his shoulder blade. Hey, you can't blame Uzumaki for copying seals, it's in their nature. Naruto also mastered the adamantine sealing chains, able to create multiple chains that appear from either his body or any form of flat surfaces. And has completed on his sage training with the wolves. When he enters Sage mode his eyes turns red and black markings around his eyes, he gains wolf-like ears and tails, along with both his fangs and nails growing a few inches and being sharper. His Sage mode increased all of his abilities, made him a tracker like a Inuzuka, and also made him able to speak with normal wolves. They also warned him to never go into Sage mode while in anger. For it will make him act like a wild beast. He then trained with his ninjutsu, and thanks to the Uchiha tablet and Hagoromo's memory, he was able to learn how to use his ninjutsu to its fullest capacity. He learned and mastered the ability of his right eye, which is Amaterasu and Kamui, while his left eye had Tsukiyomi and Kamui, however the ability of his Kamui on each eye is different. The one on the left one send anything he sees into his pocket dimension, as long within his range of sight, while the right allows him to absorb himself and object close by into the same pocket dimension. The later can also be used to phase through matter, making parts of his body go to that dimension, or trap people and objects to be released in a later time. Then he trained in his Susanoo, which he only reached to its armored form, not wanting to get the attention of everyone. His Susanoo was white with 3 arms and the armor that resembled a Tigu. Later began his training on the 7 abilities of the Rinnegan aspect of his Rin Sharingan. The Diva path allowed him to manipulate both attractive and repulsive forces, Asura path allowed him to gain 2 extra pair of arms, weaponry and armor, Human path granted him the ability to remove souls and read a person's mind, Animal path allowed him to summon non-contract animals to his aid. Preta path, which can absorb all forms of chakra, and now Atharnano, Naraka path, where he can summon the king of hell to heal allies or interrogate enemies, and finally outer path, which rules life and death. Kurama warned him that he can only revive people who have recently died or have a body still intact. His physical training is one that could be best described as hellish. He now had weight that is 500 pounds on each limb and chest, gravity seal, making him walks 5 times normal gravity, and restraint seals for his movement. Even with all of this together, he is able to move at a Chunin-like pace. Reason he is even to do this was that his body was stronger and also quicker to recover on his muscle strain. Naruto also became a master in the fighting style of the Interceptor Fist, along with Genken and its techniques, along with being able to use the 8 gates without killing himself when opening all 8 gates. Then he trained with Kubikarabjim. Thanks to his increase of strength, he was able to wield the massive sword with one hand, along with making it even deadlier by adding Flying Swallow, increasing the blade's cutting power to new heights. He mastered silent killing, which was easy for him to learn since he had stealth skills in spades. And combining it with hiding in the mist jutsu, he became the worst nightmare for any enemy. Naruto also created a non-kill variant of the silent killing called Silent Stun, which is meant to disrupt the nervous system, rendering them immobile and similar to Kai blocking from Avatar. Tla. After that was his training on his Bijk and Dragon Blood. With his Bijk DNA, it allowed him to use his Chakra Cloak V1 and V2 without being consumed by his partner's rage, along with using a unique form called Nine Tails Chakra Mode. With his Dragon DNA, he is able to absorb heat, flames or ice to replenish his strength, immunity towards ice and fire, and transform into a human-dragon hybrid. And with him being a unique generation of Dragon Slayer, he is capable of consumes elements that are not one he uses and combine it with his own. Finally was his training with his 6-path yin and yang power. With his 6-path yin, he is able to manipulate the elements without the use of hand seals, control over the shadows in a way Inara can never reach and make illusions, cause real effects similar to Yakumo. His 6-path yang, he is able to heal wounds both belonging to himself or others. Do a true transformation to take form of another person or animal and make amplify his already abnormal condition. Naruto also was able to create the truth-seeking balls, which he chose to use as a final solution and still need to practice on creation of all things. He also had an encounter with Root during his Genjutsu training. Flashback. Naruto was training in his clan's homeland Uzushio. Kibi thought it would be a great idea to train in the isolated island. Here he trained in his clan's art of Genjutsu, which was easy to. He then sensed 5 presences coming towards him. He turned around to see them all wearing Anbu armor, but their masks had a kanji for Root on the forehead. Naruto Uzumaki, said the presumed leader. Wo's asking. By order of Dansum-sama, we are here to capture you and return you to the village to become our weapon against future threats, said the Anbu. Naruto glared at the squad, standing up to show how much he has changed in such short time. You think I will let that happen? You are a below average genin, I think we can ta was all he could say as he was punched to the face and sent flying to crash into a wall and suddenly be wrapped by blue chains made of chakra that sprouted from the ground. The four others reacted by jumping away from the blonde. I may have been 3 months, soon blue flames appeared around him, well the temperature began to get colder and colder, but a lot can change in 3 months. It appears we failed in our prime objective, go to secondary, take him out, the second in command said as he went through Hand Seal's fire style. Great fireball jutsu. The man shouted as a massive orb of fire went towards Naruto. However, what happened next shocked them. The orb didn't kill the boy, instead the blonde ex-shinobi ate the fireball. Burp. Thanks for the meal guys, let me return the favor. Naruto began to inhale the air, ice fire dragon's roar. He roared as a torrent of blue flames went towards the root Anbu, 2 of them did hand seals while standing in front of the attack. Water style. Water formation wall. Shouted the 2 as a wall of water formed around them. As the flames came in contact with the water wall, it still went through while freezing the water. The 2 who did the jutsu weren't able to dodge it fast enough and were engulfed by the flames. The other 2 shunshine to avoid the attack. What was that? Who knows, but it appears to be a combination of Kaiten and Hympton. Dansum will be pleased to get his hand on his ability. Naruto scoffed and brought his hand up in the universal movement for come here. The 2 Rutenins soon rushed towards him, but attacking from both sides. Naruto moved to the left, avoiding the punch that came from his right, and then jumped to dodge the swipe kick. Then he caught the punch coming towards him by the root on his right, seeing the root on his left going for a kick to his side. Naruto pushed the root forward to take the blow for him, and rolling from the kicked root's back, Naruto stared at the other root as his fist was engulfed in flames. Ice Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. The engulfed flaming fist punched the root on his mask, sending him to the ground and making it stuck to the ground as the flaming ice made it attach to the ground. Naruto soon turned around with ready to kick the last remaining root, Ice Fire Dragon's Claw. The root jumped back evading the engulfed kick, but it wasn't prepared for the jet of flames hitting him and then turning him to a human popsicle. And then there was one. Naruto walked up towards the leader of the squad and wrapped him around his chakra chains. Now you will tell me what you know. I will not betray Dansum-sama, said the Anbu. The blonde sighed as he focused chakra to his eyes and turning them to his Rin Sharingan. Well, I needed to practice with this anyways, just to let you know this will hurt a lot. He placed his hand on his head and began to absorb the soul of the target. The root felt weak, he didn't know what his target was doing. Within seconds the root dies and Naruto was pissed. The man was one of Dansum's 5 most trusted Anbu and also had many dark secrets that the Elder Warhawk had kept from the village. So many heinous acts that are the cause for the Third Shinobi World War, the death of the Uchiha clan, and hand on how Orochimaru was able to invade Konoha during the Chunin exam. That man is also the reason why the Uzumaki, his clan, were attacked by 3 of the ninja villages just to keep Kikbi in their grasp and preventing the birth of a 6th powerful ninja village, and worst of all, he was also the one who gave the masked-wearing man the location of his mother during labor. To say he was pissed was putting it lightly. Naruto transformed into his human dragon hybrid form, letting out a powerful primal rage-infused roar, while forming a white armor Susanoo also roaring in his rage. Dansum. You will fall. Not only for the suffering you caused me, but that of my clan and of those you have killed for power. I swear on my clan's honor you will be brought to justice. Magnolia Town, one of many cities of the Kingdom of Fiori, one of the many countries residing in the continent of Ishkar. Its population is up to 60,000 inhabitants and is a merchant city that has been prosperous in magic since the ancient era. Such reputation was supported by the fact that the town houses the strongest guild in Fiori, Fairy Tail. At the front gate of the city there are 4 kids who have recently arrived. They were all amazed by the smile and the beauty of this place. Wow, I never have seen anything like this before. This place looks so much better than my old home, said the tall young man with spiky sun-kissed blonde hair with red tips. He wore a black open long-sleeve hoodie vest with an orange interior. On the back was a white kanji for wolf seiji umlaut o tilde u umlaut sedilla with white fur around the end of the sleeve and in the hoodie. Around the collar are several white magatama beads-like design. Under the vest he wore a fishnet shirt. He had black Anbu pants with red lining on the side and a pair of steel-toed shinobi sandals. Strapped to his back was a black gourd possibly 3 feet long. Well, Magnolia is located at the center of the southeastern part of Fiori, so it would be a good central hub for travelers to sell goods. A girl slightly shorter than him spoke up. She is wearing a black cloak with a hood underneath it was a red sundress and a pair of brown boots. She has long white hair held up in a ponytail with 2 long twirled bangs on the side of her face. However, around her right wrist was a tribal markings with the kanji for suppress, Y written on the top of her wrist. So this will be our new home. Awesome. shouted a young girl with short bowl-cut style white hair. She was wearing a pink shirt with a red collar and a white skirt with white sandals. "It sure will be better than living in that village," said a young boy with slightly spiky white hair but well kept. He wore a white long-sleeve shirt with a blue no-sleeve blazer, blue pants and brown shoes. These four in order are Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Murahan Strauss, Lysandra Strauss and Elfman Strauss. The blonde ex-shinobi has met the Strauss siblings when he first reached the continent of Ishkur and saved them from a pickle. Flashback a week ago. As he flew towards his new home, Naruto was enjoying the sensation of flight. It was one of the greatest perks of being a part dragon. His eyes looked at the clear ocean water to see his reflection and catching sight of a few marine animals swam underneath his shadow. He would have never known this experience if he stayed in the village. Naruto looked forward. After 3 hours of flying he could finally see Ishkur in his line of sight. Not wanting to be questioned by people he went to a higher altitude, ready to make name for ourselves, partner. You know it. The blonde tribe breed smirked at what adventure he was going to go in, but he heard a group of people shouting a few miles close to a mountain. Using his new improved vision, he looked at the direction to see as something he is far too familiar with, an angry mob using farming tools as alternate weapons, and they apparently are all grouped in front of a house. He soon focused his hearing to listen in on what they are shouting. "Get out. Get out of our village. Host of a demon. How long do you plan on staying in the village? Cursed family. As long as you are in this village, more disasters just keep happening." Naruto's anger was already on its limit. He recalled all the shouts from the villagers, the mental and verbal abuse he had suffered. Is this something that is so common in the world? "Sadly yes," said Kikby, "as humanity no matter where you are always will fear what they can't understand." Crash Naruto looked down to see something was thrown into the house. "Get out, demon. Get out of this village." Naruto was about to nose dive down and make them leave, that is until a young girl with short white hair and blue eyes opened the window. Tears were in her eyes. He sensed anger and sadness radiating from the girl. "Mirani defeated the demon that was doing bad things in the church," shouted the girl. She sniffed by the tears that was falling from her eyes. "She did it for the village. This is too cruel. She was possessed because she defeated the demon. It's not Mirani's fault." Naruto he felt touched at the little girl's word. This girl Mira is going through the same thing he had gone through when he was younger, being seen as something he isn't, and she at least has someone who sees her as a hero, like he had with Am, Tucci, Sarutobi Jiji and Iruka. However, his eyes catches one of the villagers out of sheer bravery, stupidity, decided to throw a torch at the house. This was his final straw as he dived down to stand in front of the crowd. "Time to do what a few ever did for me. Murahin P.O.V. I felt fear as the torch was thrown towards our home. I regretted being in that church and absorbing the demon into me. Now I along with my sibling will die due to their hate towards me, and even now she may have a body part of a demon." She prayed for someone to save her or her siblings from her fate. "Please, someone save me and my family." Her prayer apparently was heard. Something crashed down between her home and the mob, creating a dust cloud. When the dust settled, the villagers and Mira were staring at a young man. Mira blushed since he looked quite handsome. However, his next words shocked her and most likely her siblings. "Leave her alone. Normal P.O.V." The blonde tribe breed now stood before the mob, all of them taking a step back due to the glare they were getting from the boy. However, one of them took a step forward with his axe in hand, most likely the leader of the group. "Step away, kid, this is between us and the demon." Naruto tilted his head and looked around. "I don't see any demons." He turned to look at the girl similar to the little one with a hood up. She looked similar to the little girl from earlier, only being taller and with her hair longer, judging by the 2 bangs that reached her shoulder. "All I see is a cute girl who saved a town." And some idiots not understanding the difference between human and demons. The blonde with red tips boy turned back to the villagers, missing the blush on her face. The man growled in anger by the boy in front of him. "Oh, and how would you know if she is a demon? Maybe you are one." Naruto gave them a cold glare and bringing up his killing intent and aiming it towards the villagers. In an instant some began to faint or have trouble breathing, and it was only on a low genin level killing intent. "And if I am," he said as his eyes changed color from an icy blue to blood red, "then, we will eliminate you too." The leader of the group shouted as he did a downward slash with his axe. The blonde dragon Tribrid heard the girl shouting him to get out of the way. He ignored her scream as he sent a pulse of magnetic chakra affecting all the metal in front of him. The man's axe, along with the weapons being used by the mobs, began to grind itself into iron dust. The iron particles soon went towards the boy and formed a black-like gourd attached to his back. Once he gained his own gourd to use in the future, Naruto went up to the man and sent quick jabs hitting the shoulder joints, leg joints and stomach. The man soon fell down to the ground. The villagers watched as he tried to come back up, but he cold, whatever the boy did left him immobile. Naruto turned to look at the rest of the villagers. "I won't say it again, leave them alone," he said, sending a second wave of killing intent, now matching a high genin. Not wanting to be told again, they ran away back to the village. Many went to pick up those that unconscious to take them back to the village. Waiting a while until they were completely gone, he turned towards the house. "Okay, you can come out now, the mean villagers are gone." After a few minutes the door opened. First to come out was the young girl from earlier who shouted at the villagers, then came her the cute girl he saw in the window, and a boy a few inches shorter than her. "You are all okay?" "Yes, thank you for protecting One-chan," said the young girl. Naruto smiled and patted her head. "No problem, I don't like people hurting someone for something out of their control," he said, making the girl smile along with her siblings. "By the way, I never introduced myself, I am Naruto Uzumaki. Lisana Strauss, that is my brother Elfman." The young girl pointed at the boy. "And our big sister Marahin," she said, pointing at the one with the hood. "Pleasure to meet you all." "Same, and thanks again for saving us," said Elfman. "Don't mention it," said the blonde, and he soon looked at Marahin, his eyes focused on the ether nano and Yaki that was being emitted in her right arm. "Can I see your arm?" Mira stepped back, the boy sensed the fear emitting from her. Naruto, seeing this, made a calm smile and walked towards her slowly. "It's okay, I just want to see it because I may be able to turn it back." Hearing this, Marahin took a few seconds to think it. Wanting her hand back to normal, she raises it up, showing Naruto a brown prune hand with purple orbs that reached her elbow. Placing his right hand, he focused on shutting off the ether nano in her arm. Got to love the yin seal and yin release. Soon Marahin, Lisana and Elfman watched as her arm returned to normal. "There we go," he said with a smile at a job well done. "How?" asked the shocked eldest Strauss. She never believed to see her arm back to normal. "That's easy, since you had no training in using your magic, your arm was constantly flowing ether nano into it. I simply shut the flow off for a moment, so this will be temporary," said the Uzumaki to the girl. He saw her sadden at his words. "But I can make a seal to suppress your magic flow from going into your arm, but when you have a proper control over it, I will remove it." Marahin looked up and smiled. "Thank you, Naruto-kun." "No problem, also what do you guys plan on doing now?" asked the ex-ninja. "Well, we can't stay here, the villagers may try something once you are gone, we may join one of those guilds that are scattered around," said Mira, fearing for the villagers to come back for revenge. "The closest one to here is Fairy Tail in Magnolia Town." "Sound like a plan, I will go with you guys since I have no skill in reading a map," said Naruto, looking at the floor in shame. The other three giggled at the boy misfortune, they appreciated it, his attempt to lighten the mood. Flashback end. After that, Naruto created the seal around her wrist using his Yang seal. The group of four got to know each other better during that time. Lisana, along with Elfman, saw him as the older brother they never had. Marahin, however, had gotten a crush with a young tri-breed, and how can she not? He helped her with her arm problem, protected her siblings, and was cute. Naruto and the Strauss siblings continued to walk down the center road of Magnolia. Thankfully, they were given a map of the entire town, telling them of where things are located. Soon the four stood in front of Fairy Tail Guild building. It was an imposing building consisting of 3 floors and incorporating several architectonic styles. It took on a shape reminiscent of a pagoda, with each floor being smaller than the one below it and sitting on the ladder's roof. The roofs also bore great resemblance to those of real pagoda, consisting of extremely long arch tiles lined up one after the other and possessing simple curved protrusions jutting upwards on the building's angles. On the highest roof, topping the summit of the building, sat a simple, round and pointed dome, highly reminiscent of those seen on Arabian buildings, which bore a flag on its point. The roof below the one with the dome, the middle one, housed a large banner with Fairy Tail's symbol on it, held up by a pair of vertical poles. The building's large entrance was again Arabian in design, with its shape being reminiscent of that of the dome on the summit, and above it was the guild's name, topped by a protruding, stylized heart shape and flanked by a pair of carved fairies. Stylized heart shapes were also visible on the frames of the numerous large pentagonal windows located on each floor, with the top floor housing smaller arched windows partially covered by banners. "Ready, guys?" Naruto looked at his friends and all nodded, waiting to see what was inside. As soon as they opened the door, they watched as many people were laughing and cheering at the fight that was occurring in the center. It was 2 young boys, possibly Lisana's age. One had spiky black hair with black eyes and didn't have a shirt on, with blue pants and no footwear. He had a blue Fairy Tail insignia on his right pectoral, while the other one also has spiky hair, but in pink with brown eyes. He wore a red shirt with a white scarf around his neck and yellow-brown pocket pants. However, Naruto's nose twitched at the smell coming from the pink-haired boy. "He smells like fire with a hint of dragon. But his smell isn't like mine, so he is a first generation." "They'll show that ice is better, Pinky," shouted the black-haired boy. "In your dreams. Fire is what is that smell?" The pink-haired boy said as he took a whiff of the air. His eyes soon focused on Naruto. Ignoring the boy who he was having a debate on, he soon walked up to the blonde with red tips. He took a whiff again and confirmed that the smell was similar to Igneal. "Hi, I'm Natsu Dragneel. Why do you smell similar to a dragon? Have you been raised by a dragons like me? Are a dragon slayer too? What is your element? Do you know or have seen a red dragon named Igneal? If you had seen Igneal, please tell me where he is." "I Hagoromo Gigas beard, there are two of you," said the fox in despair. The blonde's head. This boy was similar to how Naruto was when he was a kid. The chakra entity thought that this will never happen in his lifetime, however Kami decided to make him suffer. I wasn't that Naruto didn't finish his thought, as Kurama did a quick flashbacks of his childhood, showing how similar the boy before him acted like him. He even has a dark hair and eye-colored rival, though much friendlier. Okay, so he can be mistaken for a younger me. Okay, I will answer your questions in reverse order. Natsu, I don't know a dragon named Igneal. If I ever see a giant red dragon, you will be the first to know. Yes, I am a dragon slayer. My element is ice fire. No, I wasn't raised by a dragon, and the reason I smell like a dragon, it's a secret, Naruto said, making the boy pout a little, but soon did a megawatt smile. Yes. Now I am not the only dragon slayer in the guild. Natsu began to run around in joy. Naruto laughed at the boy's antics. He can so see him like a mini-him. Hold on there, little guy. Naruto stopped the pink-haired boy from continuing his victory run by getting him by the back of his shirt. Me and my friends still need to join this guild to make it official, so where is the guild master? Over here. Naruto and the Strauss siblings looked over at the bar table to see a short man. He had a white beard, eyebrow and hair. He wore a white yukata with a black overcoat, along with a black hat. On his hand was a staff with a smiley face. "I am Makarov Dreyer, guild master of Fairy Tail, and may I know the name of the four who want to join my guild?" "Sure thing, Gigi, I am Naruto Uzumaki," the red-tipped blonde said. He was still not used to saying his father's last name. "Murahin Strauss. Lysana Strauss. Elfman Strauss. Alright, so where do you want your stamps? And the color?" said the old man, bringing out a stamp shaped like the guild symbol. Makarov Gigi, not that I mind, but aren't you going to ask any question for why we want to join your guild or something?" Naruto asked. Since the old man was very mellow, he didn't mind, since it would be nice to have an elder who isn't uptight. "No need, my boy, I am a good judge of character. I can see that you all have what it takes to be a part of our guild," the man said with a very infectious smile. Naruto smirked at the old man. He can list him with Sarutobi Gigi in the cool elder list, and it is really hard to be on. "I will take mine in between my shoulder blade in orange with red outline." The young tri-breed removed his shirt to reveal his well-muscled body. Murahin and two other girls blushed at the sight, while some adults wondered where he got the two scars on his chest. Makarov placed the stamp on the location the boy wanted it on and soon revealed his guild mark. "Left shoulder in white please," Lysana said, being the next one to get her mark. "Left side of my neck in black," Elfman said, undoing his shirt a bit so the Makarov could place the stamp, later putting it back on when it was finished. "Left thigh and in white would do," she said as she pulled her skirt up to reveal her thigh. Her eyes went to look at Naruto, who was facing the other way, however she saw a red blush on his cheek, making her happy that he reacted the way she wanted him to, but the two other girls glared at her for the boy's attention. Makarov mentally sighed when he felt a spike of ether nano. "Why do I feel the guild will be rowdier than normal?" He put the stamps away once he was done. "Alright, now I need to know what kind of magic you use. If you unlocked it, we start with you, Murahin." "Well, I don't know what my magic is called, but I can show it to you. Naruto, do you mind?" She lifted her right arm. "Sure, Kinkai," Naruto said, and the seal around her wrist was undone, soon revealing her demonic arm. Naruto and the Strauss siblings looked around, hopping. They didn't react like the villagers. Imagine their surprise when they looked at her arm in fascination instead. "So you have takeover magic, more specifically demon takeover. That is quite a powerful magic you have, my dear," said Makarov as he told her what magic she has. His eyes soon went to the blonde. "Also, I saw you made that seal on her arm. You must have rune magic or something similar to it. Does rune magic needs a certain matrix, writing and imagination of the caster?" asked Naruto, getting a nod from the guild master. "Then yes, it's similar to it but a lot more dangerous, for one mistake in the sealing matrix can lead to untold consequence. Like all magic, I am afraid they can be dangerous by one small error. So what can you tell me about your magic and skills?" asked Makarov, now curious of the boy. "Well, I am a ice fire dragon slayer. I am a near master in Kenjutsu. I am a near master in hand combat and sword combat. I have many other skill which I will show later, and have maybe 15 different elemental magical attacks," said Naruto, making many wonder how a boy so young can have so many skills in magic, and the blonde decided to keep his origin a secret till it needs to be revealed. So he told the half-lies. If one looked at Makarov, he was calm, but internally he was doing the "I won the jackpot" dance. To have such a skilled young man join his guild will be a blessing, and he could later rub it in the other guild masters' faces. "I see care, demonstrate." Sure, said Naruto with a smile, he had been itching for a good fight. Fairy Tail Guild Arena. Everyone in Fairy Tail took a seat on the stand awaiting to see who was going to face the red-tipped blonde. Naruto was down on the floor stretching for his fight. When he finished he looked up to the guild master. So who will I face? Your opponent will face 3 people each revolving one of your skills. First is Mikau, who you will fight with magic, then Urza Scarlet with swordsmanship, and finally my grandson Laxus on hand combat. Sounds good, said the guild master. Naruto nodded in approval. Soon a man with spiky upward blue hair and black eyes appeared. He wore a blue short-sleeved shirt with beige jeans and white shoes. Ready for a fight, kid? Said the man. You must be Mikau, and I am whenever you are, the boy said with a smile as a blue flames flickered from his skin. Ready, fight. Mikau soon conjured purple flames from his hand and fired it at the newest member of his guild. Naruto dodged the attacks, however he was also testing out the ability of the man's flame. Naruto soon breathed in and thought of the jutsu, water style. Water formation wall. Soon a wall of water shot out from his mouth, however he saw the flames turning the wall into steam. This flame is possibly weaker than my Amaterasu flame, he thought, putting more chakra into the water to hold the flame back. No surprise there, but it matches Mitadaba's blue flame. Amazing that a normal human can match her flame, Kurama said, praising Mikau. To see a human with the same level of power and flame as his sister was worth some respect. Sorry kid, my flame is quite unique, it can't be quenched by water or snuffed out by wind, making it far superior than other flames, said Mikau with a smirk of pride for his magic. Now eat this purple rain. A purple magic shield appeared in front of the man, and a scattered swarm of purple bullets headed towards Naruto. The boy smirked, dropping the water while he soon opened his mouth. As he began to inhale, all of the purple flames began to enter his mouth. Mikau soon felt like an idiot for forgetting that Natsu ate his flame once, so the boy could do the same. When they were all gone, Naruto burped, got to say that has nice taste and goes smoothly down my throat. The red-tipped blonde soon had blue flames coming from the side of his mouth. Now have a taste of mine. Ice Fire Dragon Roar. Soon a torrent of blue flames was sent towards Mikau. The man dodged the attack. Turning around he saw a blue flame on the wall and floor where the torrent of flame has passed through, but where the flame was a light blue sheet of ice formed underneath it. That's so awesome! Shouted the pink and black-haired kid at the sight before them. To see such an awesome flame of their element. The rest of the guild actually, though he was joking about his flame being a combination of ice and fire. Now that they are proof of such a flame, they felt bad for mentally calling him a liar. Here, eat this. He jumped into the air and ignites 2 blue streams of fire from his hands. Ice Fire Dragon's Wing Attack. Swinging his attacks downward to Mikau's side, missing him by a few inches. This was a new attack he thought up using a dragon's anatomy. Surrender. Mikau nodded, not wanting to face the powerhouse of a teen. Very well, first match goes to Naruto. Next up is Urza Scarlet, announced Makarov. Soon a girl with scarlet red hair held in a braid and brown eyes appeared. She wore a white shirt with a red bow tie and skirt, black socks and brown heeled shoes. On top of her shirt, metal chest and shoulder armor. Strapped to the left side of her waist was a sword with a gold handguard. Naruto felt something off about her. Focusing on her body, he sees that her right eye was a fake, a very good one, if it can still allow her to see. I want to meet whoever did her eye, she must be in the same league as Bachan. Let's have a decent fight, the scarlet-haired girl said as she drew her sword. Naruto soon pulled out a scroll from his jacket and opened it. Everyone wondered how he will fight without a sword, but then a puff of smoke appeared and he was now holding onto a giant cleaver. That scroll works similar to requip magic, said Urza, amazed by such a useful tool. How it use you able to such a large sword? Naruto rolled the scroll back and put it in his jacket. Well, Kubikuramjm is quite special. I will tell you more about it another time. Naruto put the sword on his shoulder, and I do a lot of physical training to improve how to use it, so ready, Scarlet. Whenever you are, she said with excitement in her voice. Ready, fight. The 2 sword users rushed at each other and met in the center their blades. The 2 sword wielders began to clash with the evading their respected weapons. They both blocked each other's attack or evaded the attack until their swords were grinding against each other. Urza pulled back when she felt her opponent overpowering her, leaving a slash mark on the ground. The red-haired swordswoman went to pierce him, but Naruto raised his sword to block her attack with the flat side of his sword. Pushing his sword forward, he made Urza unbalanced and went for a downward slash, but the red-haired knight used her free hand to push herself away. The giant cleaver hit the ground, making a small crater from the impact. Naruto once more rested his sword on his shoulder. You are good, Urza. I am glad to face a strong opponent, said Naruto with a smile on his face, finding a good future sparring partner in the art of swordsmanship. Urza smiled at fighting a swordsman that can match her. Same to me, but I will end it. Requip. Swords. As soon as Urza said that, multiple swords appeared and floating in the air. Let's see how you handle multiple swords at once. Soon the swords launched after the blonde. However, what happened next shocked the guild members. A black sand-like wall surrounded the blonde, blocking all the swords. "That wasn't nice, Urza. Using multiple weapons on me isn't fair, so I will even the playing field," Naruto said as the wall pushed all the swords away. The black sand soon began to change shape and turned into swords. "Let's kick things up a notch." Soon the two swordsmen and their respected cluster of swords clashed all around them. They also had to dodge a sword of their respected owner. When they got a chance to strike, their guildmates were watching the sword battle royal that was occurring all over the arena. Makarov was impressed on how the younger generation was surpassing the old one. "That boy will be a powerhouse." He thought, seeing a bit of himself in the boy. "Go Naruto!" shouted Lisana. Natsu and the dark-haired kid, Murahin, Elfman and a brown-haired girl, were also routing for the red-tipped blonde. The two swordsmen continued their fight along with their other weapons, but when Naruto slashed, Urza went underneath the giant blade and had her sword ready to impale him. "Give up." The Uzumaki heir smirked. "I should be the one saying that." Urza raised a brow before she saw the black swords and her own sword ready to strike her. She tried to take control of her weapons once more, but they didn't budge. "If you are wondering how I am controlling your weapons, the black sand is actually iron dust which I control with magnetism. Each time they clashed with your swords, the magnetic property slowly began to infuse into it until without you knowing the weapons fell under my control," Naruto explained as he puts his Zanbatman on his shoulder. Urza sighed knowing it was her loss. She underestimated her opponent and didn't took caution of the iron sand. The Redeed soon sheeted her sword back to the scabbard and called her weapons off, sending them back to the pocket dimension. "Guess it's my loss. It was a great fight." "Same here, I won't mind sparring with you some more," said the blonde, pulling out his scroll once more and sealing his weapon. "Likewise," she said with a faint blush. Makarov in his head can place the boy between a mid-class A to low-class S, but he needed to see how the boy does in close-quarter combat. Now for the last match, Laxus vs Naruto. Soon a spiky blonde-haired boy with grey eyes jumped down to the arena. He wore a white sweatshirt with brown baggy shorts and black boots. On the right side of his face was a lightning bolt-like scar passing through the eye. Naruto, however, soon smelled a faint scent on Laxus. He focused chakra to his nose to smell the scent of dragon on him. The scent is different from Natsu. And has an electric scent to it, so he is a second-generation lightning slayer. "Hey new guy, you better just give up, since I unlike those two a mass class mage," said the fellow blonde with a smug. He went into a brawler stance. It had no style or form, but by his body appearance, he had speed and power, making up for the lack of knowing a fighting style. "Great, we found the mage equivalent of an Uchiha," said the fox to his container, who was also in the same thought as his. "Well, we better teach this guy a lesson and kick that pole out of his ass before it expands," thought the ex-shinobi as he got into his silent stun stance. It's basically a back stance. Brady Makarov looked at the two boys. "Fight." Laxus was the first to charge, wanting to get this over with. He threw a straight punch, but Naruto dodged it by going to the side. The lightning bolt scar blonde soon sent a kick to his opponent left side, but Naruto caught it with his right hand. He sweep kick, knocking Laxus off balance, then used his left hand to have a firmer grip on his opponent to throw him to the ground face first. Naruto let go and got back in his stance. Laxus got back up, angered by being showed off. The young Dreyer began to send a barrage of punches and kicks at the blonde opponent, however he dodged or blocked them all with ease, but his anger was getting close to a boiling point. Why? Because the one he wanted beat to a bloody pulp was doing all of this with his eyes closed. His grandfather told him of people who have skill to sense others nanomiles away, even use these skills to dodge an ambush when standing still, but that took years of practice, and here was a guy around his age doing it with little difficulty. Naruto having enough dodge a punch to his face by going underneath it and then did a palm strike to the fellow blonde's gut, sending the young Dreyer into the wall. Getting out of his wall-shaped dent, his grey eyes looked up to Naruto and he could only see red. He prided himself in being the youngest S-class mage and the strongest of his generation, and for this nobody to humiliate him before his own guild and even his own grandfather was not something he will take lightly. They are dead. Electricity began to dance on his body and he disappeared in a bolt of lightning. He kept moving, trying and get the guy overloaded from the constant movement, but Naruto covered that by training with his Kage Bunshin. Facing thousands of clones going at unnatural speed helped on homing to a fast-moving target. When Laxus went to attack the back of his head, Naruto moved it to the right. He opened his eyes, showing his Sharingan. Naruto did an elbow strike to the boy's gut, taking all the air out of him, and turned around to stand in front of the boy, silent stun style. Out cold, then did a barrage of jabs at different joints and pressure points. To the guild, his hands were moving in a complete blur. When he stopped his attack, Laxus fell to the floor. If it wasn't for his chest slightly moving, he would have been presumed dead. "Winner Naruto Uzumaki," said Makarov, smiling at the coming future of his guild. "Now that this is finished, you can have the rest of the date, relax and enjoy, and I don't want to hear anything being broken." He went down to the field and picked his grandson up. "Better head over to Perusica. Laxus will need it after being beaten like this." Hopefully this will be a good lesson to see that there are people stronger than him out there. He soon headed to the healer of his guild. Soon Naruto was surrounded by Lisana, Elfman, Marahin, Elsa, Natsu, a brown-haired girl and a black-haired boy. The other guild members soon followed, all of them congratulating on his victory against some like Laxus. "That was awesome, Aniki," shouted Natsu as he jumped in joy. "Aniki?" Naruto looked at the kid. "Well yeah, I mean you are older than me and a dragon slayer, so why not, don't like it." Natsu looked up at the blonde, however his hair was soon ruffled into a mess. His black looked up to see a very contagious smile. "I won't mind being your Aniki, Natsu. In fact from now on we are brother, maybe not in blood, but in bond. How does that sound, Obito?" Naruto said, not minding having the kid as a brother. Natsu smiled, hugging the older dragon slayer and now newly named brother. "Yeah, I am going to like it here," he thought as he soon followed everyone into the guild hall to celebrate his victory and acceptance into the guild. All the adults were retelling his action and amazed on how the younger generation will bring their guild to be the strongest in the world. Guys, I will stop and end this story. Thanks for watching.